Hi, my name is Frances Stone. I'm an addictions counselor in private practice in New Westminster, BC, otherwise known as the recovery capital of Canada. New Westminster is known as the recovery capital of Canada because there are two very large treatment centers here that have advocated and made recovery visible. Addiction recovery has been often invisible because people believe in the anonymity that exists in 12-step programs as a spiritual foundation of the 12 steps of many different 12-step programs. So one thing I wanted to talk about today was sharing our stories of recovery from addiction and how that plays with the respecting the traditions of 12-step programs if you are a part of a 12-step program. This topic came up the other day, and so my opinion on it is that you can do both, that you can respect the traditions of your 12-step community and tell your story of a recovery from addiction. So for me personally, I was the first person in my family to really make 12-step, being a part of the 12-step community lifestyle for myself. And so I don't think that I'm the first person that would have benefited from that, but because at the end of my alcoholism, because at the end of that, before I found the solution for quitting drinking, I really didn't know what the solution was. And when I look back on that time in my life, I was very isolated. I was very alone. I was too scared to reach out for help or to tell people what was really going on. I just didn't really feel like I had the words to even articulate what was happening. I just kept trying to do my best and trying to keep my head up and keep trying to just not give up. And what I really needed at that time was help. But I didn't know how to get help. I remember at that time thinking I was sort of involved in like self-help type stuff. And I remember thinking like, I just have to tell my inner child, no, like, no, you can't go to the bar by yourself tonight, inner child. And, just like things like that honestly were just about me having willpower and being able to do it on my own. And I know now, after being in recovery for 15 years, and I just celebrated 8 years of sobriety in June, I know that recovery is not done alone. I know that, even the idea that doing it alone would be recovery, to me, is not recovery, because recovery to me is also being able to recover the ability to have relationships in my life and to be able to trust people again, and to be able to, like, there's more that recovery is than just stopping, quitting drinking or quitting drugs. It's so much more than that. It's really spiritual, and it's emotional, and it can be physical, very physical, because even when you stop, basically hurting yourself, your physical body comes back and, and repairs and recovers. And so recovery to me is not done alone. It's done with support. It's done with talking to people about my feelings, about what I'm going through, having accountability in my decisions before I do things, to talk to my support group about, what do they think about me deciding to move, or deciding to date somebody, or deciding to leave one job for another. Like, what are their thoughts on that? What are their opinions on that? And yeah, maybe that's something we can talk about more in another video. These are videos. I'm not going to edit them. I'm just going to kind of talk and see what comes up and sort of try to be sort of organic about it, mostly because I'm a perfectionist. And if I start editing, I'll just start editing everything out, and then it will just become nothing. And then I'll give up on doing it. So my thought is that I'll try to stay on point, which obviously is a little bit difficult for me. So this video is my first one. And I basically have done one more, but I didn't post it for like 6 months because I don't know, I just felt really shy about sharing my recovery, out loud and with people in a larger way. And so I thought maybe I would take a second to sort of acknowledge those fears, which is also a part of my recovery, is to not deny my feelings, but to talk about them and acknowledge them and sort of like release them, basically. So I was talking to a friend and we were talking about my fears of doing these videos, and she asked, well, what is your fear? And I said, basically, my fear is fear of having an opinion, using my voice and having an opinion. So we kind of processed that a bit. And basically, my fear is having an opinion because I have a fear of conflict. And that fear of conflict comes from being in a verbally abusive relationship where basically, like, I tried really hard to not have somebody be mad at me. And basically, the best way to not have somebody get mad at you is to just not say anything or do anything that might make them upset. And so, although it may seem like some small thing to, get on YouTube and talk, like, I'm actually like, even thinking about it, I'm kind of like getting a little bit like flushed because it really does frighten me to just have a voice and to step outside of my comfort zone of my community that I know loves me and supports me, and share my story outside of that community. Yeah, like, it scares me and it's real. But at the same time, I also know that everything good in my life, everything that has benefited me and pushed me forward, and like the things that that I love the most in my life, like, I think of my children, like, I was so scared to have each of my children. I have 3 children, and they are the best thing in my life. They're the people that I love the most. They've taught me everything I know about love. They changed my life and I adore them. Like, I love their faces. I love everything about them. I just love, love, love them. And hopefully one day they'll listen to these videos, and I already know they already know how much I love them because I tell them all the time, which is something that I never had, but definitely something that that they do have from both their parents. And, it took a lot of courage to become a mom. And, every time that I have had courage, whatever that looks like at different times in my life, like, it took a lot of courage to do stand-up comedy. I did stand-up comedy. I know I don't seem really funny. I don't know if I do or not. Probably not. I don't really seem like the funny type, but I did do stand-up comedy for a while, and that took a lot of courage, and I just loved it so much. And but it wasn't a fit for my life, but I love speaking. And so hopefully God will do something with that skill at some point in my life. But anyhow, my point is that courage, everything that I've had the courage to do to step outside of my fear has benefited me, has led to the biggest gifts ever. And so today, the reason why I'm stepping beyond my fear and facing my fear of having an opinion and having a voice, and speaking on these YouTube videos is because I really believe that, my higher power is is prompting me and pushing me to move towards something bigger that God has for me. And I don't know what that is. I feel like it's something that's sort of like, I don't know, like it's something like it feels like it's like percolating or something. And, it's something that there's lots of different things in the works right now. I'm working on a book and pushing myself to do videos. And I'm a founder of a nonprofit called Family Recovery Society of Canada. So there's just like a lot of different things kind of happening. And so I feel like God is like pushing and prompting me to really step outside of my comfort zone and have the courage to have an opinion and have a voice. And there's that quote that, tell your story even if your voice shakes. And I kind of feel like, my voice is like a little bit shaking, but also I just also really want somebody to have a voice, and I really want somebody to like talk in a way that I can relate with. And I don't necessarily see that voice in addiction recovery. So I kind of want to, whenever I feel like there's something missing, I tend to create that. And so this might sound weird, but like I need my voice. Like I need to be the person that I needed to kind of like inspire me. Like, I mean, I was a single mother on social assistance with 3 children. Like I needed a woman that I am today to speak into my life. Then I needed somebody to say like, it gets better. Don't give up. Your children are worth it. There are no mistakes. Like your path is happening for a reason. Like just don't give up. Just keep walking one step at a time, one day at a time. Like just wait. It'll all become clear. Like I needed that person to speak into my life. And so I guess I kind of want to be that person for somebody else. Like I want to help somebody not give up. And I am an addictions counselor in private practice, and I do take private clients, but I also wanted to be able to give a service of sharing what I've learned in a way that you wouldn't have to necessarily pay for counseling. You could try to learn from different videos about different things that I've learned. And I often share my own story with my clients to illustrate that things can work out in different ways, and that, we sort of have to allow life to unfold instead of to be something that we control and direct. We can make goals, but ultimately the outcome is up to the sort of the process of trusting the process of the way things unfold. Because I mean, yeah, apparently I'm really good at talking to myself, so this should be fine. But I think that like, even I was talking with a friend the other day about how, everybody talks about, manifesting this and manifesting that. And, I have different opinions on it. I think that one thing I think about when I think about manifestation, and I'm not putting anything against it, I do like to visualize and think about what I want in my life. So maybe that is manifestation, but I also know that I would have never manifested suffering. I would have never chosen challenges. I would have never said like, make my life really hard, make it so that like, I don't have enough food to feed my children. Make it so that, all these problems happen so that I can learn from those problems and then help others go through them. Like give me unspeakable grief so that I can stand next to somebody and hold space for them while they go through their unspeakable grief. Like I would have never, ever chosen those things, but those are my greatest strengths today. All the adversity and challenges that I've faced in my life, they have become my greatest strengths. And they used to be my greatest weakness. So I don't even remember how this video began. I kind of think I was talking about fears at some point, and it sort of morphed into this. So how can I end? I don't know. I would say that I'm grateful for everything that's happened in my life. I have overcome addiction. And I have freedom. I have freedom today. I have freedom to be myself. And that is no small thing, because it took me a really long time to figure out how to be myself. First of all, who am I? What do I need to be myself? What kind of relationships in my life support me being myself? And what kind of work, aligns with being myself? It takes a minute it took me a minute to really be able to be me. And I hope that these videos will help other people be themselves. And I hope that I'm able to share something that's valuable or that resonates with you, or, just makes you feel less alone in whatever you're facing. Because I have been through a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. And I do believe the purpose of going through that stuff and finding solutions and things that have helped me manage, I believe that I've learned those things to pass them on. And so that's really what I want to be able to do. I also, my fear of conflict is, that somebody will be negative, will argue or fight with me about, the opinions that I have, and, want to just argue, almost, I think some people, no offense, but like to argue as a sport. And that's not a sport I like to play. I don't want to argue with people. I don't want to engage in conflict. I kind of think of things in my life as seeds. I really like plants. My mom was a huge gardener, and so I love plants. Lots of plants in here. There's going to be more too. And I don't want to water seeds of conflict and seeds of distrust, seeds of, I don't know, just angry seeds. I don't want to water angry seeds. I want to water seeds of encouragement, positive energy, solutions, focusing on the good. I want to water those seeds. So that's how I've decided to manage, people having different opinions than myself and wanting to argue with me in the comments or whatever about my opinions, is that I'm really just not going to give them water or energy or anything. So if you want to argue as a sport, have at it, go for it. I'm sure you do it everywhere that you go. But that's not how I live my life. And that's not what I'm going to focus my energy on. So I guess in terms of the end of this video, which I guess I've kind of gotten to, is I hope these videos make you feel less alone. I hope that you will subscribe, which is really super important, because otherwise you won't get my videos every week. And my goal is to post videos on Tuesday and Thursday. And yeah, I know this video was a bit long, so sorry if that's not okay. Maybe you could just give me any positive feedback, constructive feedback. I don't mind that at all, in the comments section, and I definitely will read it and check it. If the video should be shorter, longer, what you might like to talk about or hear about, any ideas that you have, and then we'll just kind of keep going and learn as we go along. And yeah, so I think that's it. And thanks for listening. Please subscribe. And I think that's the end. So thanks very much. Have a great day.